So, hey, thanks for coming, everybody. It's the Meshery meeting, July 15th, 2026. Um, we were just having a little session where we were giving some feedback to all of us to make sure that we up our game on our meeting minutes. And so thank you all for receiving that, and please hold me accountable to the extent that, shoot, I don't even have an agenda item right now. So um, I don't even have, so I've spent all of my meeting time with my voice already, so I don't deserve any more. I don't have an agenda item. With that, let's get into the thick of our topics if we can. And Mr. Whitney, you are up. You're going to talk to us about workflows, I think.
Yep. So this PR hopefully addresses the last of the critical security concerns for our workflows where we're checking out essentially unsafe code. So if you want to review those security concerns, you can see the security and quality and go to code quality overview. Oh, code scanning. Here we go. So essentially, we're trying to knock out these top two critical. I did see these kind of come in later in the just today when I looked, but this PR hopefully addresses those. So I'm getting back to the PR itself. So what we were doing is we were using pull request target on these stocks build and deploy because it needed essentially secrets to comment for the pull request to write the preview to that pull request. So I tried to separate those into two different contexts. One is pull request, and then create an upload of the PR metadata and the artifact that is built from the docs build that will get published to the workflow summary, and then on workflow run runs in the context of the base branch and has access to essentially pull request write. The other thing that this PR does is the original had a whole bunch of like if closed, there's a certain action that we're doing that tries to clean up after ourselves. See if I can see it here. So yeah, we have this kind of scattered throughout kind of this entire workflow here. So I separated that out into its own workflow to trigger if the pull request closed. I have some things to clean up here that the AI kind of pointed out, but it will go and remove that PR preview. So hopefully this will take care of that security concern of the pull request target since we're separating those two into pull request and then to run on a workflow run complete. This is following advice from GitHub's security blog. So if you want to look at that, the security lab, we're essentially having a pull request where we do the pull request target, and they have a few different ways to solve for that. And I think there's one where they're writing the PR, but I can put this in chat as well. But it's following that. And recently, just for context, they are eliminating the loophole to the pull request target to check out from forked. So I think this workflow will fail whenever that rolls out. And it's backported to the actions of checkout. So I think we might start to see that fail. I didn't see the date that that will roll out, but questions.
Well, it's not more so of a question, but I don't know if you had the chance to look at my workflow, which you said looked kind of similar.
Mhm. Yes.
Well, but I think
So
actually it's yeah, you can go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, so hopefully like this will set, yeah, I mean, whatever one works, right? We're just trying to test it out and then hopefully we can lift it into a central repository that all of them will reuse versus propagating the same workflow across. So if we're deploying essentially to GitHub pages, it should be fairly similar. And if you're standardizing to a makefile, that those commands should then be simplified. I don't know if we have a repo that all those could live in.
Yeah, I don't know if it could be we can make one, or the QA repo seems somewhat appropriate, although it's a little bit can be difficult for some people to work with just based on how large it is if they're not
Yeah.
using a sparse clone.
Right, 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 right. I don't know if this is .github. Anyways, yeah, we could look for one, but to Lennox's point, I think we should look at the similarities and kind of try and cross-reference that to have everything standardized into one versus copy paste
Yeah.
those
Yeah,
files around.
maybe, but Ian is here asking for feedback on his PR, and what Lennox does is inject with asking feedback for his PR, not offering on Ian's, so kind of awkward.
Mhm.
Like, Lennox, did you review Ian's?
I went a little bit over it. I can
What feedback do you have?
say that for the let me go actually to the code. If you can go to the files changed. For go a little bit downwards. I just wanted some clarifications in regards of the hardened runner steps, which I wasn't like familiar with,
Hmm.
so I could understand it a little bit better.
Yeah, so this is something that I was trying out. This is essentially just an egress filter for network traffic. So right now we're essentially auditing it. What they recommend is having it block so you can't have any like phone home attacks on this. I saw some of this pattern in the Argo CD project, so I was interested to kind of learn a little bit more. But yeah, it's a third-party action that's egress filter for your container, so that will look at what network traffic is happening while the workflow is running, and you can then go and see what sort of requests are being made, and then you can start to build a little list of hosts that it can connect to or not connect to. So,
Okay. And then the other thing is that for the install Dart step, I don't think that one is needed. Oh, well, we are currently using Hugo Extended.
hmm.
So Dart in itself, it's not needed.
Okay,
I
and
have like deleted the dependent.
Lennox, good. Actually, he's not really looking for, he's just following what we already have. What he's focused on
Okay,
is making things secure. So I mean, that's good
okay,
feedback, but it's some feedback you need to give to yourself and put into
okay,
our workflow. And so
okay.
Yeah,
good.
yes, yeah, that's a good call out. I tried to just this is just like separating security concerns. Hopefully, most of the functionality is there, and then maybe we could clean it up. Yeah, but I guess I was blind to the Dart Hugo thing. I just tried to keep everything kind of similar.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
All
it
right.
doesn't point out anything that Ian has done. Ian's just used what we already have. If what we already have isn't correct, then that's someone else's issue.
Yep.
Okay. Good. The go live date. So who else has feedback? Uh, who else has questions? You're changing around our format a bit. People are going to turn on video. You're going to get engaged, learn something, give feedback, or I will politely ask you to be removed. Ranit, this is your last chance, my friend. Video up, or please come back next time. Ian, tomorrow is the date by which the checkout actions behavior, or I'm sorry, yeah, I guess it's the checkout actions behavior changes.
Hmm.
And so how does that affect, do we,
So it kind of simplifies, I guess, the migration because I was thinking through like, oh, if this is broken, like maybe some folks will be impacted until someone can kind of swing back around. But if it's just going to break tomorrow, then yeah, kind of raises the priority to try to get something like this to work.
yeah, other feedback, does everyone know why there's a conditional for the close? Or if the PR is closed, why is that included?
Yeah. Oh, you want me to?
Yeah, or it's a pop quiz for whoever wants to, give points on the call. Whoever wants to be here learning something. Anybody?
Like if a PR is closed, then we no longer need the previous or the previous closed.
That's a great, yeah, who said that?
I said that.
Okay, that doesn't help when it's like, hey, what does the word red mean? Oh, red is when something's red in color. It's like when you say who said that, you say Parth Garten. Right? That way you know, because I can't tell who said it because I'm not your dad, so I don't know your voice. Does that make sense? Parth, was it you or somebody else?
Yep, it was me.
It was I. Okay, great. So Parth, you may not still understand the feedback I just gave you. What was that, Parth?
I really did not get it.
Yep, I was afraid of that. That happens all the time. It means that we're bound to repeat ourselves, and I'm going to lose my sanity sooner than later. Good. Yeah, thanks for speaking up and offering up an answer. Yeah, in this case, that's not quite why. Actually, this has become painful. Let me just, Ian, did you know why we're doing that if condition so much for the closed PRs?
Yeah, so this action goes and cleans up that PR preview on that we posted. So essentially, this action does have an auto if you don't explicitly say that. So what we were doing is essentially running, we were building it, but we were saying, hey, skip over all these steps and essentially just trigger the next couple steps down below. And then we close, we use that auto to close the PR preview. So it seemed like separating that was the right to separate those concerns was right, but definitely open for feedback as we see the original here. Let's
Yeah,
see.
and you might have just said part of the concern, which is that, like in particular for the Meshery repo, it's so large that since we post the build previews back to the same repo, the size of our docs is so large, and if we keep enough history of them, we overflow the storage in our repo, and so we have to go back and
Yeah, so I guess there's two levels that we're trying to do this on. So I think we're trying to clean it up with these we have some actions in here that try and clean it up, but then if it merges in, these steps will always kind of run and try and clean up to have a retention limit of 6. But then if you close it, this one is specifically just the only thing that runs there. So there's kind of two layers that are trying to, yeah, to your point, clean up things.
umbrella PR. Nice. Okay.
And I tried to remove, so a lot of these are just these are the defaults that were there. So I tried to remove some of those defaults because this seems confusing to me. So if you see the latest one, it shouldn't have all that. So it's just like it's more like what you would expect. Okay, this is cleanup. Okay, it's removing something. Great. You don't have to have all those like knobs that are the defaults.
Yeah, we have enough Hugo-based sites that some aspect of centralizing these can make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
The other people. So how does the change in the pull request target that's coming tomorrow, how does it negatively impact us though? Like let's say that we weren't being proactive and weren't working on
Mhm.
cleaning ourselves up and hardening ourselves. That would prevent contributors who fork a repo, it would prevent them from being able to get a preview. Is that?
Yeah, I think so, right? Like if I have my own fork and I allow the actions to run, it won't run with the secrets of the base branch or the base repo, the upstream.
Yeah.
So I think when I reread it yesterday, and I think it will just completely break. I think there's this escape hatch for those that aren't able to migrate, but I think it will break the workflow. Essentially, those secrets won't be injected into the workflow like they are now, or it would just limit it, or they didn't really say like where it will break, but I think it'll just stop.
Yeah. And there's no button, or there's no action that someone who has write permission on the repository can do to say, hey, that's okay for this fork. Go ahead and supply the secrets, or go ahead and process the.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't think so. I think in those sense, some of the other mechanisms they promote more is like gating with labels. Once a label that kicks off another workflow, so on and so forth. So I don't think there's a whitelisting of forks that these are, trusted forks or not. I think I haven't seen that, but
Yeah.
that could be a blind spot for me. Yeah.
If I was developing that product, I wouldn't do it because it's just taking it
Yeah.
too far. I would suggest the labels. I would suggest, the
Yeah.
white listing and the labels. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, shoot, yeah. So part of not only is this effort to help close the exposure, and prevent major embarrassment and major disruption and potentially all kinds of nefarious acts against the project, it also helps get us close out some those critical security alerts, not only in the code scanning done in the repo, but also in how we measure ourselves against other open standards for best practices. So this is good. Just yesterday, the chair of the CNCF Technical Oversight Committee had pointed out about 5 or so open security issues on Meshery and was asking about status of those. And so it's a very timely and relevant topic for the project. Also, just yesterday, we received a vulnerability report from a cybersecurity firm in Germany, and the gentleman had filed about 5 security vulnerabilities, only one of which I've looked at the moment, and it's pain. It hurts. Like, well, wow, the way that the project is vulnerable that he was pointing out, and so anyway, security is this isn't just for fun or an exercise in what's possible, or an exercise in cleanliness. It's like, no, we've got some exposures, and if you've watched the news at all over the last year, 2 years, 10 years, like it just keeps getting worse. It keeps accelerating how much issues just like this one are exploited. One of our sibling projects was their repo was completely deleted. As a matter of fact, it was a security project that was deleted, which was even worse. So anyway, other people have feedback for Ian. Ian, one of the things that would be good to see maybe in action is, or maybe there's a couple of questions that I have that I think only get or much easier to answer once the workflows have run a time or two, and then you can see the behavior, and some of it I don't even have to ask the question, it's just self-evident. I wonder if we might, this is work situation dependent, but I wonder if we're able to potentially in parallel get those changes merged and sort of have them fired, as a fired off so we can see how they behave while the current one continues to do its thing, or maybe there's a little bit of duplicity for a little while where we've got 2 comments saying the same thing or something. I don't know to what extent. So part of my line of questioning is how convoluted, or how convoluted does it become if we centralize the workflows? How convoluted does it become as we go to split them out into reusable chunks? I don't think it becomes convoluted as you split them out. It does, as long as you're looking in the right place, you can you can see where it all branched and follow that through. But as you go to debug and you're wondering, hey, why did the check fail? And you try to go look at it, depending upon how things are set up, it can be a little bit of a treasure hunt, a little bit.
Yeah,
So
we
it's,
could, I could update that PR not to delete the one that we have already running to the point of like, yeah, a couple PR comments happening in parallel. Not sure
sure.
how that will look, but we could certainly do that as we centralize it to a repo that, is a way. I don't think that adds any convolution to debugging, but it does add some overhead to making sure all your clients are like, you know, following best practices. And if one needs something, how do we take care of that? So on and so forth. So
Yeah, it might make sense to turn one or two of those into a GitHub action potentially. To the extent, I don't know if that helps, like that clarify that reusability and sort of where the API is, so to speak.
right, right, right.
But and actually, so my question about running them in parallel isn't about or please know that as you go to make this decision, which you should and you should pull the trigger, is from my single vote perspective, single vote as just one of the maintainers here. Please lean into making the changes. Or like I wasn't suggesting, oh, can we run them in parallel because I'm concerned that the other one isn't going to work. No, that it was more like as a way of greasing the wheels so that you can feel comfortable moving forward because you're like, oh yeah, it behaves just fine, no problem. And that way you can move forward even more quickly.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, these are always tricky to debug since, yeah, they got to run and yeah, there's errors and so on and so forth. So yeah, definitely.
Anybody else? Nope. Good.
Okay, I think we can proceed. Chaitanya, you want to
Yep,
share your
I'm here.
screen and go ahead with the GK installation?
Yeah.
I'll stop sharing. Yeah.
So while I was testing to install Meshery using Meshery CTL, I faced a few issues here. So the first one was I was trying to do this with on Windows OS. So if you would see uh, if you would see here, prior to this, we were just simply, using the bash script to uh, install and see the prerequisites. But since basically these are for OS like Linux, so uh, this was not working on the Windows OS, right? Then the next issue that I had was first we have to create a connection with a specific type. So for GK, it is type GK, right? But I got an error saying that first I need to start the server, but I couldn't start the server because first I need to create a connection, right? So this is basically the catch 22 issue or the error that I got. Uh, then the last issue was that I have the kubeconfig YAML file, which is basically supposed to have the context of the cluster, but the uh, server wasn't able to upload it or fetch it. So I made some fixes here. uh, for this I used a thin wrapper here to ensure that we are able to get the kubeconfig YAML file. which the Meshkit wasn't able to do directly. If you could see here, we were just fetching the empty bytes. So while I still had the YAML file for specifically for the GK cluster, it was still, fetching the cluster which was running on my Docker. So yeah, that I fixed that, and then um, yeah. So if you'd see here, first I had to build the binary here, and then I ran the connection create. So uh, if you'd see here, uh, right now it is a graceful degradation saying that Meshery server is not reachable, but it has still, created the required files. Okay. And then once I start the system, then we are successfully able to, deploy Meshery. And here we are. Yeah. So it is successfully connected and I'm able to see the connection right now. So in the GK cluster, I was able to do this using Helm, but we had some issues while doing it with Meshery CTL.
I have a few questions here. So you created the connection first and then installed Meshery in a GKE cluster using Meshery CTL.
So we already had a repository there, okay? And then Meshery CTL was also running. So basically we had either Meshery CTL system config or connection create. So we have to do that.
Wait, so no, so that's not what I was asking. My question was, did you create the connection first and then install Meshery on a destination GKE cluster?
Uh, yes.
And how did you get auth to that cluster?
So right now the auth is basically I'm using here the client from the K8's client to have a non-expiring token. So the auth was the issue here, which was causing the catch 22. So yeah, I,
So I would say that, so I haven't looked at your PR. Can you go into utils.new cube client where that is coming from on line 476 on the right? Yeah, just a little above. Top of the screen, line 476. Yeah, right side. Same diff, right side. Yeah. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. Yeah. Utils.new cube client.
yeah,
Is that using Meshkit cube client?
yep, it is using Meshkit.
So if it's using Meshkit cube client, you would probably not have to do this. And if I remember correctly, and Lee, please correct me if I'm wrong, or if Abid is here, he can correct me as well. Um, you can install Meshery. So okay, before I say anything, I just want to also check the installation that you did and the connection creation that you did. Was it following in cluster or out of cluster?
In cluster.
So for doing in cluster, why would you have to create the connection first?
Um, Basically, to have the configurations, right? So in order to have the in-cluster connection, for the server should be having a context of the cluster.
No, so the example that I can give you is like, think of it, you have a cluster that you can that there is no Meshery installed, right? And the goal is you install Meshery in that destination managed K8s cluster. And what Meshery does it after Meshery is installed, the operator is installed, the meshing and all of things are installed as a deployment. It goes ahead and it does a discovery and it shows you on your URL. There is a lot of other things that happens before you can see it on the dashboard. There is like port forwarding and all the other stuff that you have to do, but you wouldn't essentially need a connection to deploy Meshery on in cluster on an existing provided managed cluster. So the connection creation flow would require specifically, let's just say you have Meshery deployed and you want to connect the destination cluster to that existing Meshery deployment. So you would create a connection which would allow that connection to have some sort of a deployment. Again, please correct me if I'm wrongly, or Abed if you're here. It would allow installation of one of the components in the destination cluster, or it can just discover it using that connection. But you would typically not need that. I'm not sure what changes are in here. I'll probably have to take a look. If you can add me as a reviewer, I'll be able to see. But yeah,
Yeah.
if anyone else has any feedback.
Yep, that's right. If you're doing an in-cluster deployment, Meshery self-connects to the cluster. So you don't need to preface it by running you don't need to upload the kube config in Meshery UI using that Meshery UI REST client, and you don't need to provide the kube config using the other REST client, which is Meshery CTL. In neither case do the clients need to help the server. The server helps itself.
Yeah, so I did test that and it was
Okay,
able.
wait, but stop. Wait. Your fundamental misunderstanding neutralizes any further comments that you might say. We're just going to spin in circles and you might save some face, but I don't care if I haven't demonstrated that from earlier on the call. It's like, thank you for the Windows compatibility changes. Good. That is all. Go back and study what Meshery does. This is your singular area of focus. You need to understand it. It's the only thing you're supposed to be doing. Please come around on it. Thank you for presenting this. This will help you understand the significant difference in UX and the way the system behaves between when Meshery is deployed in cluster and when it's deployed out of cluster. Out of cluster is more challenging all around because Meshery is not implicitly credentialed within its own environment. When it is deployed inside of the cluster, it is implicitly credentialed. In the future, hopefully that credentialing will be much more explicit. We will allow people to provide much more control over how Meshery, or give them much more instruction about how it is that they should prepare the in-cluster deployment so that Meshery has the right amount of permissions at the level that they're comfortable with. Chaitanya, was there something that we'd missed or you needed to add?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, for sure, right? There isn't anything.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we got the part covered, speaking of the authentication. So yeah,
Nice. All right, good. So what are you going to do from here?
I'm going to go back and check how the server is able to get the in-cluster connection.
Okay, good. First, you're very good. Please first start with the docs, which by the way is supposed to be your foremost concern, right?
Yep, I
Great.
followed the docs for these commands.
Great.
That's all.
Although in here, I don't see any docs updates. Maybe, are you just not showing those changes in this PR?
Yeah, no, this is specifically for the
Okay.
Meshery CTL with GK.
Yeah, which is not good. Please close this PR as I've instructed you you're supposed to be focused on the docs. Go through those, verify that they're accurate. It'll reinforce your understanding. It'll avoid us spending this much time on something that is just a fundamental misunderstanding.
Yeah.
And hopefully you will have included every single time you open a PR, docs updates.
Yeah.
Because that's where okay, good. All right. What topic do we have next?
Next is me. So, Shubham Bansal. Yeah, Kusham Bansal. Sorry, I mispronounced your name. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
fallback to username if email is absent.
So yesterday we were discussing that when in Canvas, when username is searched, only the icon appear and the email doesn't. So the issue was that sometimes so there was no username as a prop there. So I added an optional prop and in the assistant, and now it's working. I've tested that in Meshery UI, and yeah, here is the screenshot for that. So yeah, that was the change I did.
Nice. Hey, side question or really, did you notice if there's any anonymous users that happen to show up? There's this like no reply anonymous address. I don't know if that ever, if you don't mind,
I
next time you're
I didn't see that. I'll check and I'll update you on that.
yeah, thanks. Yeah, no, I think it's like no hyphen reply or just no reply. And they're not supposed to show up because
All right,
they're
I'll fix
they're
that.
not.
If that's an issue, I'll fix that. Yeah, that's all from my side. Thank you.
Okay. Any feedback anyone wants to share on this?
Yeah, you might have just said it, Kusham, but did you say, is this a singular component or did it make sense to have two components, like one for the sharing the design and one just for the user picker?
Pardon? I'm not able to get.
The user, so we talked about this yesterday. Did you make two
Yeah.
components? Did you make a user picker or no? Did we already have one or no?
No, we don't have one. So yeah, I opened up an issue and self-assigned it. I'm working on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Great. So that's one of the bugs that DigitalOcean had pointed out yesterday. So hey, less than 24 hours later, Kusham has got it fixed. That's great.
Yeah, and I also would like to get this PR merged and release the other version, release the latest version for Assistant, as it is a blocker for another 6 PRs that the issue have assigned to other assignment.
I'll help.
Thank you.
Rishi, you might be able to help. Anybody else have questions or feedback? So why aren't there avatars there? Yash, do you know?
No, I don't have a question for him.
I know, but why aren't there avatars? I know, but what I'm trying to do is like get you guys involved because people are here to. You're interning here, so like what is it just random that all of those people don't have avatars, or is there a bug? It seems somewhat suspect.
Lee, I checked that a profile of mine have an image and that appears.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. So it's just happenstance that all of the
Yeah,
ones pictured don't. Okay. Cool. Now, when you search, does it search for last name?
No, I haven't tested the edge case, that edge case.
Okay, or it's not an edge case. It's like let's be clear on what we're allowing users to search. Can they search just the email address? Is it greedy? Or does it have to start with the exact letters in the exact sequence? Can they search the first and last name of the user? Or so as you have that other issue open for the user picker as a component, those could be really helpful things. Because a lot of times, like I'm like, yeah, I was working with Kusham. Oh, I don't know his email address. And by the way, I just know that his first name's Kusham, but I don't know his last name. And so to the extent that we can facilitate some of that, that'd be great.
All right.
Part of the other big significant question here, and it might be something that we would have a small little info button for. By the way, we should pretty much have info buttons on every field in the UI, pretty much. It's like, wait, can I invite anyone in the world? Or what if they're not even a user? Can I invite them if they're not a user? What if they are a user, but they are not in my organization? So they don't actually have, like, can I invite them? And if I can, should I even be allowed to see their email address here? Wait a second, this seems like a security concern. How does this work? And so not displaying the, so yeah, I've got, how do you think it should work? Because we should get this into a spec right now. And that way you guys can move forward on it. How should it work?
Is it a question for me?
Or, yep, yeah, or anybody.
Yeah, so I
Anybody?
think we should add an info button so to notify the user that whom they can invite, like for their org or like the workspace they are a member of.
What should the rules be?
So the rules should be like you can invite the people who are currently part of the workspace that you are.
And that's it.
So
So how do you get someone to come collaborate with you that's not in your workspace?
we need to invite them, I think,
Okay,
first.
so you first invite them to your org, and then you can share with them. If they're in your org,
No,
would
we
they
can
already
create.
just have
We can create a public link for that. Yeah.
Or alternatively, you can just open it up for anybody to come and collaborate. What if you don't want that? If you're not in my org, but I want you to collaborate and no one else, what then?
Mm.
So I don't want this to sound actually, I don't want this to come off as blasphemy, and maybe I'm the only one that is concerned with it. But there's a phrase, or there's a acronym. Oh, yeah, it's like this. It's WWJD. What would Jesus do? It's a pretty good question. If you're having a hard time figuring something out, it's like, you know, whether whether you've got that faith or not, it's a pretty good question. He's had some pretty good teachings, probably. Anyway, there's a company that Jay works at, and so in our case, we're not talking about a moral decision. We're talking about a technical decision. So there could be a GD. What would Google do? And in this case, if the answer was, well, I don't know, whatever Google Docs lets you do, however they let you share it. Yes. Good. We don't need to recap. We don't need to go figure all that out again. Like, it's already been done. Maybe it was awesome. Maybe it wasn't. Doesn't matter. A billion people are used to it. They'll find comfort and familiarity if we follow that. So that's a good question to ask. There are other, I would submit to you and the rest of those here that are actually listening and actually trying to learn something. I think most of you are, but some of you, I keep trying to get you involved and you don't speak up. So it's not clear to me, but would be actually the rules here, they're probably longer than you guys want to hear me talk. But the rules include all of the concerns. Someone who's not a user, someone who is a user but isn't in your org, someone who is a user, is in your org, but doesn't have access to your workspace, someone who is a user, is in your org, has access to your workspace, and you still only want them to be the ones to get to it. That's 5 scenarios. There are probably a couple of other scenarios. And so I think they're already written down in docs. Yeah.
Yeah, I would start with the permission model for users first. So that would be like the first goal that will answer some of those questions. So permission model for like a user period, and then you attach a type to that permission model, and then you can have like how Linux permissions work, and you can go from group, users, organizations, so on and so forth, like how much access you want to expose. But this would go a little beyond just workspace and users. You might also have to think about what elements of the workspace itself you're trying to expose, edit, non-edit. So it may not be just tied to a user. It may have to be tied to, I would say, some sort of an entity or a model, I would say. But yeah, that's what I would say if I were to ask. Yeah, all actions. Yeah. All actions that is possible. And I'll share my screen. Sorry, got sidetracked. Happens with me. Linux or Linux. Sorry if I misspelled your name. Please go ahead.
Okay. No, it's fine. You actually did it right the first time. So.
Do you want to continue sharing? Do you want me to share or okay, go.
I just took over. So first and foremost, to add on to what Ian was presenting earlier, I think this is my main part for what I wanted to discuss is that I am currently trying to also separate the usage for the GitHub workflow, which does the build and deploy due to the changes that are going to be implemented in like tomorrow, I think it is. So I am currently creating one workflow for whenever someone does a PR, and then on that workflow, I'm just checking out on the I'm instanciating the metadata, checking out on the PR itself, building the preview, and then once that's done, since I had a question over Slack in regards of this, it builds an artifact which later on it gets sent towards the workflow which is responsible for the deployment. And this one, it does actually has the necessary permissions in order for writing content, writing on the pull request, little comment, and so forth. So so I was looking through Ian's PR. I think it might be a good idea to separate the concerns for the closing of the PR, since I don't have that one implemented on mine, on like a different responsibility, I guess, for the workflow. But other than that, I was wondering if anyone else had any input in regards of this topic.
I think Ian does. There were a number of contributors here who are focused on these builds, none of which Renit maybe was kind of part of that group that was concerned with it before. Renit, I don't know if you got any feedback. But other than that, probably Ian's your guy. Linux. So it's not Linux, it's Linux?
In Spanish it's actually Linux, but
Oh, yeah.
English people say it as Linux. So it's I'm just like I know it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Linux.
Yeah, just without the accent, which is pretty hard to do since no one here speaks Spanish.
Baby steps, baby steps.
Yeah. But yeah,
Lennox, hey Lennox.
yeah, it's like that.
Yeah, that was perfect.
Here then, yeah.
Oh, speaking of embarrassing yourselves, I just did it. So, all right. Yeah, good. Yeah, thanks for taking care of this. It's a perfect timing to collaborate with Ian and the two of you guys. I recommend going and breaking stuff a little bit, like choosing one of the repos that has very little activity and merging these and testing them out, seeing what, and then making sure to make attempts as someone who has forked the repo and attempts as someone who has write access and
Okay. I'll go ahead and get in touch with him in regards to that. And then for if no one else has anything to say, last time that I was talking about in regards of like the code reviews and that kind of thing, since it's kind of hard for whenever we're going through PRs and then everyone is asking for hey, what can I do in order to like do a PR? And it's just like insufficient information that we provide into each other, and it just like leads nowhere. Google has its own how to do like a code preview kind of thing, so we can like take this as a reference and add it to the contributors guide, if that'll make things easier for everyone.
Yeah, no, it's all right.
All right.
Yeah. I just have one more thing. So, this is again just a suggestion. Might be a little hard to do, especially for live repos. So for all the security related changes to workflows, again, people who are involved in, I would say not everyone, people who are involved in, or if everyone wants to do, please, again, let everyone know. It's good to do some sort of red teaming, which is trying to break the workflow, steal secrets, home call some URL, so that, it's verifiable. Sometimes these standard practices are robust enough that they won't. But if security vulnerabilities are fairly new, there will be some cracks here and there, that I've seen happen. So yeah, that's all.
No.
I think we are at the peak of the hour. Anyone who didn't get the chance to speak, can add their items to the next meeting agenda. I guess that's probably it. I'll let Lee stop the presentation or recording. Yeah. Oh yes, you have a hand. Uzair, I guess.
Yeah, hey everyone. My name is Uzair. I am recently new to Meshery. So this is actually my first meeting, and there was an issue related to DevOps, and which I mentioned in the PR, Lee to assign me to. So he asked me to give a feedback on this. So if you have 1 or 2 minutes, can I share it? Or
Yeah, I think since uh, uh, I'll vote that Uzair is allowed to, but just because it's his first time and it is frustrating not to. If I have time, Uzair, so I'll hang out. If no one else has time or you guys need to take off, please do. It's been a meeting full of learnings, and with that, thank you all for coming. Feel free to drop or to hang out and listen to Uzair for a little bit. Uzair, you want to go ahead and share and.
okay, just give me a minute. Okay. So can you see the screen? Let me just.
Oh yeah. Yep.
uh,
We'll,
yeah.
we'll tell you if we can't. By the way,
Okay.
it's still coming up, but I'm sure it will get there.
Okay. Okay.
Go ahead.
So actually, the main issue was, I think this one issue. Wait. Issue. So yeah, can you see see my screen?
Let me repeat myself. Hey, we'll tell you if we can't,
Okay.
but hey, Uzair, by the way, hey, I can see your screen
Okay.
any day now, Mr. Uzair. Did you want to present something?
Okay. So actually, there was a PR in which if a user doesn't configure tracing, so it starts running a logs. Okay. Which was, I think, I'm open the PR. And so the issue was, let's say if I do not configure tracing, it would already started doing sending logs by itself. So and the other person who was working on the PR, he did, he explicitly set it to false, which I think was not a good approach, because if, let's say, if another user starts to doing it, it will, if it's he has to tell it explicitly to set it false, so he will not get logs. So what we can do is, uh, is to set if if it's empty, if the tracing it's not set. Let's say if you configured it and you do not set a tracing, it shouldn't send logs. This is what I given my feedback, that if it's not set even to set a false, or if it's empty, it shouldn't send a logs. So
Yeah,
that
because
was the
it's
main issue. I think which was you also mentioned that setting false was not explicitly was not the solving the bug. So
yeah, it sort of
if we set
negates the purpose, right?
if we set it to null, so what it will do if another person do it, it won't send a logs by itself. So see what we can do is just add the condition that if it's a null or false by default, it shouldn't send tracing or logs.
Good feedback. Anything else, is there?
Nothing, no, nothing from my side.
Yeah, thanks
So
for taking a look.
one more thing, if you think I am missing something or I need to go through something, so I will do it. Currently, I am also looking at Meshery server docs, so to get more overview of this. So yeah, if you think I have need to do more, go more and understanding, I will do it, and I will share in next meeting. So yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah. One thing that would be helpful is if this is kind of a big next step, but um, the ability for MeshKit to facilitate distributed tracing with span propagation is relatively new to MeshKit. And I don't think that on this call we've ever had someone demonstrate, not on this call, have we had someone demonstrate what it looks like to look at Meshery's traces. That would be nice. That's a big step from reviewing here. But if DevOps is your focus, and since you're into the code a little bit, perhaps you could toss up a Jaeger and configure the traces to be collected by Jaeger. That'd be awesome to see.
Okay.
Actually, I
So
take it back. I think Abid did demo at one time, but not enough. So anyway, Uzair, do you want to do that, or is that a step too far?
okay, so you want me to present a demo in of what it was of tracing, or you want to Jaeger to do it like configuring through Jaeger?
Yeah, it's a step too far. It's probably not a good ask. I'm probably not setting you up for success. Thanks for doing this review. This is helpful. Do poke the individual that has the pull request open to help make sure that you're trying to work this to closure. You might find them in Slack, and if they're not in there, please invite them. It'd be good
Okay.
to have. It'd be good to. You can even point them to this YouTube recording to say, hey, we've discussed your PR, and so it's some good work. There's a couple of outstanding points of feedback. That'd be great. You make a friend in the process as well.
Okay.
Thanks a bunch, Uzair. Hey, thanks everybody for coming, and particularly Jay for offering up some hosting and a little what would G do. Okay. See you guys. See you guys next time. See you back in Slack.
Bye, everyone.